this week's episode. Real quickly, we're just going to go through installing a steering column, mainly in a hot rod. If it's in a, say, like a classic car, 57 Chev, Chevy truck, early Holden, whatever, it's a little easier because your seating position's set, your dash position set, so you can more or less, if you're going to replace the column, if you have to go to collapsible column, obviously you can remove the existing column, measure it, get one the same, more or less use the same mounting positions. In a hot rod, there's a lot more things to consider because there's nothing there. You're choosing your brake pedal position and you've got to choose your seating position and everything else. So we'll run through that and then sort of show you how to measure a column up and give you a bit of a guideline on steering column. So Craig's in the car. He is going to run through some of the things you need to think about when it comes to your steering column and your seating position and that sort of thing. So let's open the door so we can see.
So first of all, you want to make sure your seating position is your most important thing. So you've got to get your seating position right first. Make sure you've got your travel, all that sort of stuff. Once your seating position's in, then you work out your leg position, you can work out where your pedals are going to go. So there's your brake pedal, and then you'll have accelerator pedal there. From there, you can work out where your steering column's going to go.
Yeah.
It's through the firewall. Then you work out where you want the steering column distance, where you want it. And for me, this is quite comfortable. We had the owner in here, he sat in it and we worked out how far away he wants to be from there. This is an adjustable column, so you can tilt it up or down like so. So then we work out the length. Also, you've got to think of your steering wheel. They're going with a sports style wheel, 15-inch, like this Moon Metal Flake wheel, but not this particular one. Different wheels have different depths, so that then also changes the length of the column. So a normal sports wheel like this is like 3 inches deep, whereas you have a 40 Ford wheel, well that's a flat wheel.
Yeah.
There's different sorts of steering wheels, so you need to know what your steering wheel you're going to run as well, which will then determine the length of your steering column. So then, once you've got the length of the steering column, you can see I've just got this temporarily wired up here, so that then we can work out the size of the column drop. So now we can order the right column drop because the column is now sitting in the right position. So now we worked out that's a 2.5 inch column drop.
So what I'll show you as well with measuring a column drop, let's get in here. So there's your mounting surfaces there. So you're measuring a column drop from there to the center line of the column. So not all the way to the bottom. So your measurement, so here to here is 2.5 inches, then that is how far your column drop is.
And also a steering column is measured from...
I'll do a steering column, I'll get a column and I'll show you how you measure a column. Because that's the thing, knowing how long your column is. So now we'll go...
So that's the inside of the car. Then you come out to where it comes through the firewall. Now then you have to decide, because in nearly every single case it's going to interfere with the exhaust, so you decide whether you're going to modify your exhaust or whether you're going to modify your steering. In this particular case, the owner wanted these particular exhausts, which are like a stainless block hugger style. So you have to have that exhaust on to then work out where you're going to go to get to it. So now this particular car is running a Uni-Steer half rack. So that's the fitting for that there. And I'll just drop me wood. So this is where we came out of the firewall. That will have like a swivel mount put on it after. Obviously you can't go straight because you're going to hit the exhaust. So that means you have to put another uni in. So that means using 3 uni joints. What I've done on this particular one, just to give me a little bit of room to keep it down here a bit lower, I've just recessed that part of the top of the chassis rail there with some 5mm wall tube, which I've laid in there just so that it just gains me a little bit more space.
So you should have, I think...
It's minimum 10mm.
10mm.
Like around a chassis and that sort of stuff, which is not moving, 10mm is fine. When it comes to an engine that can be moving on engine mounts, I like to maybe try and give it a little bit more, just just depends. If your motor's moving a lot on the engine mounts, you could bind up on the uni or a shaft or whatever.
Yeah.
And what I also do too, I mean, normally what we do is it's like stainless or mild steel double D shaft, so 3/4 double D. But you don't want to, that's quite expensive, so you don't want to be cutting it and then go, oh shit, I've cut it too short.
Yeah, you can't add to it.
What I do is I use 3/4 dowel and just sand the ends so they fit into the uni. So then I've got a big pile of all different lengths of these, and I sort of work it out and work out what I need in the dowel. So then once I've worked it out, I can then go and cut the stainless once.
Yeah.
Otherwise you're wasting it, you know. Now if you're only having a uni here and a uni there and a straight shaft, that's it. You don't need to support it. Because we've got one steering uni in the middle, we now have to have a support
bearing,
which is basically something like that. You can see there, that's just one style. This is off another car. I'm waiting for the one to come for this one. So what will happen is that goes in there like so. Get in there. And then that goes there, and that's roughly going to sit about there. And then what I'll do is I'll have a support that will sit here down to the chassis. So that actually is holding that. Otherwise, if you had no support here, that would just flop around like a, you know.
And come out like that.
Yes, and that's right, and that's not good.
That is incorrect.
Yes. So, what else do we have to do?
And then the other thing to think about as well, if you are going to, you can do it the other way. Like in this situation, we've used the extractors, or the other way is to have your extractors done around your steering.
Oh, that's exactly right. We could have gone straight from here, straight down to there with one shaft, and then had
custom headers,
extractors coming over here.
But one thing to consider is if you're paying someone to do custom headers, it'll be way more expensive than going around that steering.
Yeah.
Like custom headers are expensive.
Yeah, but with the steering, you have to think about all those things. So you've got to have your seating position, so then you can work out where your pedals are going to go. Then you can work out where your column's going. You have to know your steering wheel, you know, depth, style, that sort of thing, to then determine what you're doing. The other thing, sometimes like when you're going with Hemis or big blocks and things like that, where the motor's right out here and there's no way it's going to work, there's actually another gadget called a, what do they call them? Column drop?
Clear steer.
Clear steer. So what happens is that you run a very short column that only goes to the inside of the cowl of the firewall, fits to the clear steer. That's like 4 or 5 gears. They come in varying lengths, and that runs down inside the firewall and then will pop out down here somewhere, so then you can run straight along.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have worked still in this situation because of the headers that he wanted to run. So that's why we've come out and we have 3 unis, which is fairly common.
Because this is obviously, it's a 28, 29, 30, 31, so Model A chassis. So they're a little bit narrower just at that engine point, whereas they're like a 32 chassis, about where my finger is, it starts to go outward, so you end up with a little bit more room in a 32, 34 chassis, for example.
Yeah.
But yeah, like in what I'll do in a minute, I'll put up how you measure a column. I'll show you that, and then that's
and you
more
probably
like
show a picture. We get a clear steer on the shelf. I
I'll have to sell that one.
Yeah, you've got a picture of one. Throw one of them up. Just, you know, we've had to use those on a couple where we've put Hemis in cars just to clear the back of the engine block, you know.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
See ya.
All right. I will now just show you where to measure a steering column. So if you want to order one from I Did It or someone similar to that, there is a lot of different places. So you want to go from that point there basically to the end of the column. So you can see there, if I can get what you can stay there, they would call that a 28-inch column. So that's where you measure from, down to the end of the shaft.